All right, we're back another Sunday at 6 o'clock on our Black Media Network. How's it going in Atlanta?
Everything is going good here in Atlanta. It's raining, but still a good day here. Oh, how was everything in Savannah, Georgia?
Same thing. We kind of been windy, cold, but in the last maybe hour, the bottom kind of fell out. So it's a lot of water, a lot of cold, a lot of dreariness. So
okay,
yeah, man. So what's on our I guess our first 10 minutes? What's popping in the nation?
So the most popular news that's going on here in Atlanta is the Fani Willis ordeal. So she has come out to admit that her and Nathan Wade have a personal relationship. Again, as I said before, I don't think that's going to have any mood on the entire case in itself. And I don't think that's going to go anywhere about their personal relationship. I think the best thing for her to do is just to kind of recuse herself and get away from it, because she is causing a lot of attention if she's trying to really prosecute Trump and all these other defendants.
Well, if I understand it correctly, isn't the guy who she's quote unquote dating, isn't he the one who's like the special prosecutor or investigator or?
Yes, he's a special prosecutor. It's Nathan Wade, another white gentleman, and another white female who Fani Willis hired outside of the Atlanta DA Council.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of tough. I mean, I'm one who does not believe, I believe we need to keep people's personal, issues out of the campaigns and out of the workplace. But that one right there is kind of too close for comfort. I mean, you are handling a very serious case. And like you said, I don't know if that particular connection, relationship, if he's found, guilty or whatever, that can be a real sticky thing when it comes for if he appeals.
Yeah, and the Fulton County Commissioners, they rejected her recent proposal for more money. So the pressure is being turned up on her here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah. Speaking of district attorneys, what are your thoughts about the whole law that was passed recently in Georgia, where I think the legislature or the governor can remove district attorneys or some kind of way they can punish them, I guess we're saying?
I think that's what an oversight committee is for,
Yes.
and also the people who elected the district attorney. I don't think it's right for any government entities that should form its own panel and just remove a prosecutor just for whatever political reasons. Because if it's on the flip side, we wouldn't want Democrats to be doing it. So why, as Republicans, they should be doing it? And it doesn't even qualify all the way up to the attorney general. So it's just local prosecutors that they're going after. I think if a prosecutor does something that's unethical, that's what they have the State Bar of Georgia for. So, and they have other panels that can look into this into the issue, and if the attorney needs to be removed, I think there's already proper procedures to do that.
I totally agree. I think it's overreach. And I will give Brian Kemp his kudos and his, pat on the back. I think he's very level headed and he's not quick to judgment. And so when things like that come across his desk, he makes very smart decisions. By the way, did you see the bill he just passed for anti-Semitism?
No, I didn't. I heard about it. I only read the headlines, I should say.
Smart move. That's all I'm going to say. Very smart move. We'll see how that looks in a couple of years. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be
What's
excited.
your thoughts on that?
What's that?
What's your thoughts on the whole the House Republicans moving? I think with was it help House Bill 881
Which one is
about
that?
removing local prosecutors.
Oh, I just think it's overreach. It's way out of line. It's not, one of the things I believe in, and this is across the board, is when you are trying to certify or deal with certification, or you're trying to figure out how to impact, improve, or put policy around a profession, you need people who are in that profession to be kind of managing that. So for people who are not attorneys or who have never been through the bar or who don't understand that process or how that looks, they don't need to be involved in that. I just think that's overreach. So yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And so hopefully our guest will pop on in a minute. But our first topic tonight is the Maxine Waters effect. And so, we all know who Maxine Waters is. I love her to death because she is not afraid, right? But we start seeing now the Nikki Haley's, the Marjorie Green Taylors, the AOCs. And what I have personally noticed is women are not necessarily always given the same access to be appreciated in spaces of leadership. And so then they feel, maybe not feel, but then what I notice is this extra push to be heard, seen, or whatever. So that's kind of how we got on that topic.
So are you saying when you say the Maxine Waters effect, do you mean women just being overlooked in some spaces?
I agree. Yes. Hmm.
Yes, women are overlooked in a lot of spaces. I mean, we can go through academia, we can go through health, we can go through employment. I mean, there's a list of things that women are overlooked in. Unfortunately, that's how society is structured for some strange reason.
Yeah.
But even though there have been obstacles, there have been a lot of women that have triumphed through those obstacles. So you have a lot of outspoken women like Maxine Waters, like a Nikki Haley, like a Hillary Clinton, Michelle Obama. I mean, you can name a lot of powerhouse women that do defy the odds, and that's why when we see them once in a lifetime, where they're very spectacle.
Yeah. I'll even go back. We just lost Rosalind Carter not too long ago. And, you know, one of the things I enjoyed learning about her, she wasn't your traditional um, college degree kind of established person. She was kind of a, everyday rural country girl who just came to prominence and really was effective in her role. And so one of the things I would hope that we do a better job of is making sure that in these male created spaces that we start leaning back and giving women their just due. In fact, Black women have been discarded for many, many centuries. In fact, we just got the first African American female Supreme Court justice. And how long did that take? So I think we've got to do a better job of allowing women to have equal voice in those leadership spaces.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. Um, but we live in a competitive society, and as males, we are very dominant. And I think a lot of men just come off. I mean, it's competitive, and they see women as weak.
Yeah,
That's why they act a certain way when they do have an opponent that is a female.
yeah, yeah. And that's unfortunate because women have been the cornerstone of many of the of our movements, from the women's suffrage.
Civilization.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and so it's just interesting to me that we still, in this day and age, have that whole, well, not everyone, so it's not a generalization, but there are there still are issues out there where women aren't taken seriously or heard equally.
Right.
Uh, with that said, what are your thoughts with Nikki didn't do too well up north.
No, she didn't. She's not going to do any well in the South either.
You don't see her winning Carolina.
I don't see her winning Carolina. I don't. I think it is best for Nikki Haley just to go ahead and step out now so she's not embarrassed in South Carolina.
Oh,
And then
no.
that way she can run in 2028. Right now, this is Trump's train, and no one is stopping him from going to that nomination. He is going to be the Republican nominee. As of right now, it is going to be a Trump and Joe Biden rematch, unless Robert Kennedy is on the ballot in multiple states. He'll be a third contender as well. But as of right now, it'll just be Trump and Nikki Haley. I mean, even if she was to win South Carolina, that's one state, and then we go okay, the next states. Here comes March, Super Tuesday. He's doing well here in Georgia. He's doing well in Florida. He's doing well in North Carolina. He's doing well in Tennessee. I mean,
Mhm.
he's going to be defeated now or later. So it's kind of pick your poison. It's best for her to step out now because she would have more capital coming in 2018, and then she can use some of those same quote unquote MAGA Trump supporters to get behind her when she decides to run in 2018. So they aren't going to Ron DeSantis if he decides to run in 2028.
Mhm.
Good evening, Clinton. We're talking about women in leadership spaces, and so we got on the topic of Nikki Haley, and then jumped to Nikki Haley versus Trump, and so that's the kind of the topic we're on. And so, what are your thoughts around the Haley Trump kind of battle, especially after she lost up north?
I don't think she's going to have the numbers. I think I agree, she needs to wait till 2028. Her chances would be far better. I think she's going to fall short. I'm not trying to be mean to your hopes. I know you like Nikki Haley, but she's just not going to pull the numbers for the primary.
Yeah, I don't understand why the Republican Party is willing to put all of their eggs in the Trump basket and risk. I'm not going to say they're going to lose the race, but risk, not winning against Biden. I mean, he may not be on the ballot in certain states. He's not really polling well against Biden. Why?
Well,
go ahead, Clint.
Nikki is just not commanding the influence with regular voters to even get the type of notoriety Trump is gaining. You see, the regular voter is not thinking a strategy of who can defeat Biden. The regular voter just goes with what they think is, popular at the moment.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, Nikki Haley just cannot defeat Trump in generalized, popularity. Whereas all of us are either current politicians or ex-politicians who think strategy, who can beat Biden, who has the best opportunity of defeating Biden in a debate. We're thinking long term.
Mhm.
General public thinks now.
That's
That's
true.
what we're
That is
thinking.
true.
And it's like that with policy. You saw me when I ran the election. I was talking about this happening down the road, that happening down the road. And what people wanted to know was what's going to occur now? What's going to happen now? And that's why I failed with voters. I could tell them what will occur now will seem good at first, but then, I wouldn't have obtained the vote. I was trying to get them to see the downfall that will occur in the months ahead. And so this is why Nikki Haley is not doing good. And this is why the Republican Party is going behind Trump because he has the numbers. And if they jump behind Haley, and he wins the primary, there could be retaliation among his supporters, and the Republicans that hold office may not hold office in the future.
Mm.
Yeah, I definitely I agree with that. I think for Nikki Haley, and when it comes down to Trump, I mean, right now this is Trump's show, and he's going to be the nominee. It is best for people to just go ahead and fall in line behind that. That way we can just get the primary process out of the way. I've said this before. Trump needs Nikki Haley supporters. He needs those independents and he needs those moderates. But unfortunately, the type of person that Trump is, he's. I don't think he's going to get all of those. Honestly, I don't think he's going to get majority of them. He might get a little bit when it comes actually on election day. Also, what I would say about Donald Trump, I mean, so the reason why Trump has really stayed dominant in the Republican Party and in mainstream media, you really just have to blame the source. It is the media who kept Trump talking every single day to make this man as much popular as he is now. We could have already been talking about other Republican candidates like a Tim Scott, like a Nikki Haley, like a Ron DeSantis. I mean, even if you don't like those people, the media could have started looking towards the future. However, they continue to talk about Donald Trump every single day. And then Donald Trump used that into his advantage because they started throwing lawsuits at him left and right. He just kind of worked it into his favor, and he worked the camera like he normally do. So I think it's the media who kept Donald Trump really popular on people's mind, and he's just running with that show right now.
Yeah.
Here's what many don't understand. During all his years on The Apprentice, that was practice. That was learning how to control the media. And what the media thinks about is clickbait and what's hot right now. And Trump knows how to play that. And when you combine that with all the people who had what they call Trump derangement syndrome, they keep Donald Trump relevant. If they had simply not tried to get him, just let it go and ignore him, he would have faded into history. He would have no prominence during this year in any election. But even by trying to prosecute him, you're putting him in the limelight. You're making him important. And by making him important, people don't forget. And he knows how to manipulate that limelight to his advantage. I mean, he had all those years practicing with a bunch of celebrities on The Apprentice. We all know many celebrities are narcissists, and he knew how to use it against them. And a lot of the press are narcissists. He knows how to manipulate that and turn bad press into good press. They put it right into his hand.
And I will add this. I think the other part to add to what you just said, Clinton, is this aspect of people like the fact that he pushes back against the status quo. He is fighting the enemy. He is against the government. He is standing up for himself. And I think there is a group of people, a good number of people at that, who really can buy into, oh, he's punching the government right in the gut.
Yeah, and then also he used to be somebody who gave a lot of these politicians money. So he's kind of like, I know how the back end of all this works anyway.
Yeah, and using that against them. Like all these people, they ask me for money. They grovel to me. I know what this is like. But to counter that, there have been 2 or 3 politicians that I know of that have gone against the government and give it with more dignity. Rand Paul. Government did it with dignity rather than showmanship. DeSantis, you may not like him, but he's got more dignity and dealing with going against the government or whatever's popular. Trump just knows how to be a showman. Also, changes his language when he's speaking to the regular masses to a 4th grade level. It's not he thinks people. It's not he thinks people are dumb. He knows he can cover more people that way.
Yeah.
If he tries to in a unified manner, he's going to alienate at least 15% of the registered voters. So he lowers his vocabulary to a 4th grade level on purpose.
That is so true. Oh my God! Because I mean, every rally we watch, He's going to talk about somebody, call them a name, and I mean, very simple sentences. You know what I mean?
Listen, I will say that I've been to a Trump rally on this call, and I must say he is very entertaining and funny.
Yeah.
It is just like going to
Joe.
It is like
He's good at it. He's good at
it is more a comedy show than anything. Like you are guaranteed to have a good time.
It's an absolute showman. He knows
It is.
the audience engaged, and people like that, and that's why he's able to do what he does. And if we really wanted Trump not to be a threat this election cycle, the press should have ignored him.
Yeah.
The people who tried to prosecute him should just let it go and stay in the way. Because look at how Rand Paul was treated. He yelled to the top of his lungs in boxer shorts, butt naked on the White House, and people wouldn't pay me attention. And that's why he doesn't make an impact. People ignore him.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just ignore, not prosecute, pretend they don't exist. Completely irrelevant.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So before we go to our commercial break, let's talk about what's up with Greg Abbott in Texas. I think they are frying some interesting fish over there. I'm making some crazy barbecue, whatever you want to call it.
I don't know how the federal government and the states that have aligned with, Mr. Abbott are going to play this out. I'm hoping there's a peaceful revolution and it doesn't cause Americans have to go against Americans, federal and state, to resolve this issue, because we're all one union, and we need to remember that. I'm hoping they solve this peacefully.
I am curious to see how this is all going to play out as well. I mean, for Texas, and I'm kind of not surprised for Texas to defy the Supreme Court, but for them just to do it, I just want to see what's the response to it and what resolution is going to come up of it.
Roll the dice.
Regardless of how anybody feels about this political issue, one thing you can't deny: there's a lot of people that's coming over this border.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can't deny that. So I don't care if you're in favor of what Texas is doing or not, but there's a lot of people that's coming across this border, and I think there's a lot of things that should be questioned. There's definitely some reform that's needed, but I do think the federal government needs to step in a little bit more and actually find out all these people that are coming into our country, because they are coming in record numbers, and not just from quote unquote Mexico. They're coming in from Asia, Russia. I mean, at some point, the federal government has to, take a stance back and wondering what's going on here, and not just leave it up to Texas to try to do whatever they're doing. Texas is definitely taking a political stance with this, but I think it's working in their favor in the long run, especially when Biden is on that debate stage. It's going to be hard for him to debate images showing thousands of people coming into the country. I mean, he can't downplay that.
I know Texas wants to get a handle on this, but I'm worrying about things becoming heated between the federal forces and the state forces, and I don't want Americans firing on Americans. I know that that's being pessimistic and looking at the worst, but all it takes is one spark, and something can go. And that's what I'm worried about. That's why I want to resolve it, the federal and the state governments. There is a flood coming through, and we can't handle it in a sovereign nation. It's just too many all at once. We can't feed our own people that are born and raised here.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, I just don't want the federal forces to fire upon the state forces and vice versa. I don't want Americans killing Americans, not over this. Sorry, I'm just worried about that.
No, I totally agree. But if we go back to the Trump effect, now, if I'm Donald Trump and I really want to galvanize and gain some steam, Greg Abbott would be my VP.
Yeah, okay, but Greg Abbott can only bring you Texas, though.
Yeah.
but how many states are on Texas's side?
I think.
But those are states that Trump are. Well, he's already going to win those states anyway.
But I'm thinking about, you know, sometimes momentum is like a football game, and when you have the offense going and you gain that momentum, I mean, this is a momentum gathering moment. If I mean Greg Abbott, or I mean, I can't think of someone right now that would just really.
The bad thing about that is I think the momentum's going to wind down by May. So if he gets VP now, and then the momentum dies out in May, then Abbott won't be an asset anymore. So I don't know.
I do agree. I don't think Abbott would be an asset come May. I think the momentum actually on a lot of people coming into the country, that's going to be high. And then, you know, when we hear Joe Biden talk, we're going to start wanting to hear Trump talk much more because Joe Biden can't form a sentence.
Biden can't. Don't do him like that. Joe is competent.
Don't worry. We have
medication. Yes.
We have Vice President Harris. She can formulate a sentence. Don't worry.
I mean, honestly, I'm sorry. That's even scary.
Well,
I'm sorry. We can say the quiet thing out loud. Even a lot of Democrats are not proud of Kamala Harris. They are they're not.
At least she can pronounce. So, you know, I mean, I didn't say it would be logical. I'm just saying it would be more logical than Biden. If you know.
Oh man, Biden does a good job.
I mean, if the Democrats really want to win this election, find some way to get Michelle Obama to run.
No, she's not gonna do it. I wouldn't blame her. I would not touch that. No.
She in fact would turn it down.
Yeah, and I don't blame her one bit. You done 8 years in the White House, regardless of the role. I mean, you can't even, for God's sakes, go to the bathroom without Secret Service. So who wants? I mean, come on. But we're gonna hop on our commercial break, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. So to get us set up for our next topic, let me hold on 1 second. Y'all. Let me get it right here. Hold on. Hit pause. Okay. It takes so much to share on this thing. All right, here we go. So we're going to be talking about opportunity zones, but there are a few clips that we're going to play, and I want to start with this one just to kind of get us thinking about what opportunity zones are.
Small stretch of road in Louisville, Kentucky has a special distinction. It's one of roughly 8,700 areas around the country known as an opportunity zone. The program was created in 2017, a change in tax law to promote investment in low-income communities.
We're drawing investment into neglected and underserved communities of America so that all Americans, regardless of zip code, have access to the American dream.
Since then, President Trump has repeatedly touted it as a benefit to the Black community. The biggest claim, job creation.
We created tens of thousands of jobs with opportunity zones.
From where you sit here in your city, do you believe that to be true?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Jim Seifert is a tax lawyer in Louisville. He tracks opportunity zone investments and says most of the investments are real estate projects without long-term job potential. That is the case nationwide, according to a report from Urban Institute, finding little job creation, instead tax breaks for investors spurring real estate deals. But in Wilmington, Delaware, Ajit George of Second Chances Farms says by year's end, he will have created nearly 50 new jobs.
How crucial is that opportunity zone funding to create jobs?
Absolutely crucial. It gave us a calling card to meet people who were possibly candidates for investing, period. And so without it, we didn't have that extra benefit.
In a new report, the White House estimates more than $75 billion have been raised for Opportunity Zone projects, but the report does not give numbers on jobs created.
So there we go. What are y'all? Let's start there. What are your thoughts?
Simple. Policy doesn't always translate into actual implementation. Yeah, you can try to change the rules, but that doesn't mean players will jump on the game board. You know, how can I put it? There's what we would like in fantasy, and making it a reality is not easy like something. This was a nice idea, but it's not working out. The implementation is just not taking hold. Your thoughts?
Well, I agree with what the final gentleman talked about. But what it works out for are the investors, right? And so what I have noticed, and I might be wrong on this, but a majority of the opportunity zones happen to be African American neighborhoods. And so are you really coming in to revitalize? Or are you coming in to invest and make money? It's two different things there. Now, I want you to make a profit, but I don't want the identity of those neighborhoods to be lost and gone.
Well, what's happening is when it come in, you're not creating a business to hire local native born and raised people. They're coming in and they're pricing people right out of their neighborhood.
Yes.
Which is something no one calculated when they were coming up with this idea. They always saw the surface value and didn't look at all the pitfalls. And that's one of the pitfalls. You get people that come in and all they want to do is transform that neighborhood into a replica of where they live at the cost of the residents. And the people that suffer are the residents. And no matter how qualified the residents might be, no matter how capable they are of being trained, they're bypassed, ignored, and the online filtering system flushes them out, doesn't even acknowledge their online applications, and boom, they have to move to survive, and then the neighborhood is gone.
So one thing I'll say about the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. So there are definitely some pros and cons to it. While we definitely should talk about the cons, we also should state that it was kind of a pilot program. Really, it wasn't fully implemented, and right before it did happen, COVID happened as well. So there was some slow progress into that. There was some research that did come back about the opportunity zones sometime early last year, and it did talk about how when it was set up, they thought that by 2027, it would be 50% of investors that would have invested into the opportunity zone. Well, by 2020, 50% had already invested into it. While there are some unfortunate stories, you do have some positive stories. You have a story in Minneapolis where an African-American developer was able to use some of the opportunity zone funds to redevelop that community for those people. So it definitely has some of its cons, but it has some pros as well. It's still a pilot program, and I think Congress should really talk to find out, where are the areas of opportunity and where are some successes.
I think Congress could tweak it, make some modifications to it. Like you said, it's a pilot program. It's not a complete failure, but since it's in the stage of still being an experiment, let's modify it a little bit. Now we've seen the pitfalls, we see some of the problems. It's still at the phase where it can be corrected and refined. So why don't we do that?
Because the program, it was not supposed to be intended to raise people rent, but I think one of the clips that Robert sent.
Right on time. Go ahead.
Oh, one of the clips that Robert said, the woman was talking about her rent being raised. So again, I think that's something to even look into to see what transpired there.
Well, yeah, that's something we can tweak. Like we said, it's a pilot program. So why don't we make the alterations to it now when it's in its beginning phase, before it's too late and these neighborhoods are completely gentrification takes place. We can stop it now by tweaking the policy.
So I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this clip that talks very much about what you're talking about, Clinton, and what Dante just talked about, pricing people out. So here we go.
Designated this area as an opportunity zone, or as the IRS puts it, economically distressed. Our region has about 30 of these zones, most in the city of San Diego's inner core.
There's nothing around. There's no areas for you to be able to buy or place any new building on.
That now appears to be changing. The Opportunity Zone program, part of 2017 tax reform, offers tax breaks to investors who inject their dollars into these neighborhoods. But instead of making life more affordable, Zillow says home prices in Opportunity Zones grew 20% in a year.
There are still as many questions as there are answers out there.
Eric Tilkemeyer does economic development in City Heights, also an Opportunity Zone. He's working with policymakers to make sure the new investments benefit the community.
We're park deficient. Our sidewalks are deplorable in a number of neighborhoods. The walkability is not what it should be. The challenge is all of those same improvements tend to cause gentrification.
In other words, keeping residents like Barnett from being priced out of their own neighborhoods. John Horn, 10 News.
In addition to the Colonia del Sol neighborhood, Zillow says the opportunity zones in San Diego most likely to see investment are Golden Hill, University Heights.
So there you go.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things that I've noticed, in particular here in Savannah, is this idea of an impact fee, right? And so you have developers come in and, like you know, they saw the sidewalks weren't, you know, adequate and other things that were maybe damaged during construction. Those impact fees will be used to offset some of the costs. So instead of passing it on to the taxpayer, you now have impact fees to kind of put a buffer around some of the repairs or the investments. But I think also developers should be required to place programs, economic development programs in those communities.
I think there's a way we can avoid impact fees. What we can just do before they invest in that area, they just agree to make, well, rather than impact fee, utilize their own money to fix the damaged areas rather than the state or the city having to place an impact fee on. They're doing it voluntarily by agreeing to come in there and start that enterprise, agreeing to pay for those modifications.
Mm-hmm.
This way you don't have to involuntarily place an impact fee. Also, as far as giving back to the neighborhoods, I need to stop using the word community because I want to use neighborhoods. I don't want to imply commune or communism. I think if we just show the benefits and if they agree voluntarily to hire at least 50% or more of their born and raised residents of that area and to train them, it will have a great impact on all the people that have been there their entire life.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Clinton. I think the program in itself, the idea is phenomenal. I do think that the money should stay to local residents, and the hiring force should be the local residents as well. So there should be some type of stipulation or contract, I should say, where the local government is agreeing to make sure that the local workforce is, I would say, 50% or higher of these new investment businesses that are coming in.
Now,
overall, I still think what's that?
One problem you're going to run into is their HR departments. They're going to basically mislead and say that, oh, we have an automated filtering system, we have no control over it. That's a lie. Okay, they don't know that because they don't make the automated filtering system. They have IT and IS people make them, or the software companies make them, and they really don't understand how they work. So you need to talk to upper management, skip HR altogether. and it will mislead people. And you need to make it where people who apply online, and most people do when it's at the library or at home, they're not spit out automatically when they place their address and when they place, where they live all their life or whatever. Also, they need to not be spit out automatically just because they don't have experience. They might have a degree but lack the experience. Or they might have the experience but lack the degree. We need to learn that just because the person have a degree doesn't mean they can't be trained even though they don't have experience. And just because a person doesn't have a degree doesn't mean they don't have the experience. And these filtering systems, they never have that combination in their algorithms or in their computer code. That needs to be changed, not by buying a new software package, but by talking to the software companies and altering the code, which HR people don't understand. You're wasting your time talking to them. Talk to the upper management in discussion with the software companies they use, change the code so residents can get employed.
Works for me. Works for me. So, gentlemen, any final thoughts before we log out? We're a 45-minute show, so we have 4 minutes. Dante, I guess we'll start with you.
No, actually, I have nothing to close this out with. Oh, well, besides Black History Month. I mean, happy Black History Month.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yep, and I can't wait for the election. It's going to be complete pandemonium.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I will say this, and I don't want to, we can talk about it the next time we're on, but if we, not if we make it that far, but, with all of the wars popping up and it's getting pretty intense really quick. And so, I don't know. I think we're about to head into a serious conflict.
Yeah.
I'm afraid
the American people is going to want that strong man to protect us, and we all know who we're going to run to.
I don't know if I want him at the head of the ship on this one.
All I know is I hope we can avoid getting into another conflict. We really can't afford it. Human life, we can't afford to lose anymore, and we just don't have any more money to spread around any more conflicts, wars. We need to just. We need to come up with a solution. This country can't police the world, period.
Right.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. All right. So we'll see y'all the next time we're on. Y'all have a great week.
You too.
All right. See you.
All right now.
Like this.